the problem Tesla still has to solve. But there is one important question that cannot be ignored. Can this technology actually be manufactured at automotive scale? Because developing a battery inside a laboratory is one thing. Producing millions of identical cells every year is something completely different. A laboratory prototype can be carefully assembled under controlled conditions. Engineers can monitor every cell, adjust every parameter, and reject anything that doesn't perform perfectly. A mass production factory doesn't have that luxury. Every second matters. Every material has to arrive at the right time. Every electrode has to be manufactured with extreme consistency. And every individual cell needs to meet strict safety and performance requirements. This is where some of the most promising battery technologies in history have struggled. The chemistry may work. The prototype may work. The first few hundred cells may work. But when production increases from hundreds of cells to millions, completely new problems can appear. Manufacturing defects become more difficult to detect. Material costs become more important. Production temperatures and pressures must remain consistent. And even a tiny variation between cells can become a massive problem when thousands of cells are connected together inside one vehicle. That's why the real competition isn't simply about inventing the best chemistry. It's about building the best manufacturing system around that chemistry. And Tesla already has something that many battery startups don't: experience. The company has spent years building enormous battery factories, optimizing cell production, reducing manufacturing costs, and integrating batteries directly into vehicle structures. If Tesla ever manages to make an aluminum-based battery commercially viable, that existing manufacturing knowledge could become a massive advantage. Why aluminum is so interesting? The attraction of aluminum goes beyond simple availability. Aluminum is already deeply embedded in the global industrial economy. It is used in aircraft, construction, packaging, electronics, transportation, and countless other products. That means the world already has enormous infrastructure dedicated to mining, refining, transporting, processing, and recycling it. Lithium, by comparison, has become strategically important precisely because battery demand has grown so rapidly. As electric vehicles become more popular, demand for critical minerals increases. That creates questions about supply security, prices, geopolitics, and environmental impact. If a future battery chemistry could significantly reduce dependence on some of these materials, the consequences would extend far beyond the automobile industry. Suddenly, battery manufacturing could become less dependent on a small number of mining regions. Manufacturers could potentially diversify their supply chains, and countries that currently dominate critical mineral processing could face a completely different competitive landscape. That is why next-generation batteries are not merely an engineering competition. They are also an economic and geopolitical competition. What happens to Tesla's competitors? Now imagine that Tesla actually succeeds. Not in a laboratory, not in a demonstration, but in a factory. Imagine that Tesla announces a production-ready battery capable of dramatically faster charging, significantly longer cycle life, and competitive manufacturing costs. What happens next? The reaction across the automotive industry would probably be immediate. Companies like BYD, Toyota, Volkswagen, and other major manufacturers would have to accelerate their own battery programs. Battery suppliers would have to rethink factory investments. Charging networks would need to prepare for vehicles capable of accepting dramatically more power. And consumers would suddenly begin asking a very different question. Not, how far can this EV go? But, how quickly can it recharge? Because once charging becomes fast enough, range itself becomes less important. Think about what happens with gasoline vehicles. People rarely worry about carrying a 1,000-mile fuel tank because refueling is so quick. If an EV could recover hundreds of miles of range in roughly the same time it takes to stop for coffee, the psychological barrier surrounding electric vehicles could disappear. Range anxiety could become almost irrelevant. The charging network could change too. But there's another side to this equation. A dramatically faster charging battery doesn't automatically mean charging infrastructure is ready for it. If millions of vehicles suddenly demand enormous amounts of electricity in extremely short periods, charging stations would need much greater power capacity. That means larger electrical connections, stronger grid infrastructure, better cooling systems, and potentially massive investments in energy storage. In other words, the battery revolution could create another infrastructure revolution. And this is where things become particularly interesting. Future charging stations may not simply receive electricity from the grid. They could combine solar generation, stationary batteries, and intelligent energy management systems to reduce pressure during peak demand. A charging station could store electricity when demand is low and then deliver enormous amounts of power when several vehicles arrive simultaneously. The car, the charger, and the grid could effectively become one interconnected energy system, from electric car to mobile power station. And that brings us to perhaps the biggest long-term possibility. The electric vehicle of the future may no longer be just a method of transportation. It could become an energy asset. During the day, the vehicle could drive. At night, it could supply electricity to your home. During a blackout, it could keep essential appliances running. During an emergency, thousands of connected vehicles could potentially provide distributed energy across an entire region. Instead of electricity flowing in only one direction from the grid into the car, the relationship could become two-way. The car could consume electricity, store it, and eventually send it back. That completely changes the economic value of the battery. You're no longer buying a giant battery simply to move a vehicle. You're buying an energy storage system that happens to have 4 wheels. But we need to separate fact from future claims. However, this is where we need to be careful. Many of the extraordinary performance figures surrounding next-generation battery technologies remain claims, research targets, prototypes, or speculative projections, rather than independently verified production specifications. Claims about extremely high power density, decades-long lifespan, enormous capacity, self-healing behavior, or decade-long charge retention should not automatically be treated as confirmed Tesla production technology. That's an important distinction. Battery research is moving extremely quickly, but the distance between a promising laboratory result and a commercially successful automotive battery can be enormous. So the real story isn't that Tesla has already replaced lithium-ion batteries. The real story is that researchers and manufacturers are actively searching for ways to overcome the limitations of today's technology. And if even a portion of these next-generation concepts eventually reaches mass production, the consequences could be enormous. The battery race is only beginning. For more than a decade, the EV industry focused heavily on making lithium-ion batteries better. Higher energy density, faster charging, lower costs, longer life, better thermal management. But eventually, every technology reaches physical and economic limits. That's why the next phase of the electric vehicle race may not be about building a slightly better lithium battery. It may be about discovering what comes after lithium-ion. Aluminum-based systems,